Well, they will certainly miss Jason Roy. It's no surprise that that news has been confirmed today. If you were watching the South Africa game, the moment he set off for that run and had to hobble to the other end, you knew that he'd torn his calf and his tournament was done. But they've confirmed it, and obviously confirmed that James Vince will come in. It will be a big blow. He's an exceptional limited overs batsman, whether it be 50 over or 20 over, and has an excellent relationship with Josh Buttler at the top of the order. But Nasser, they have got plentiful options, haven't they, to replace him?
They do, but the first thing you've got to say, it's a big blow for Jason Roy. I mean, he did it in the 50-over World Cup fairly early, and it was concerning then. But because that was such a long World Cup, or reasonably long compared to this, he could come back, play a part, win the World Cup. This one, you could tell from his body language, A, there was pain the other night in Sharjah. B, there was the immediate sort of acknowledgement that that was his World Cup done, and they don't come around that often. So he's hugely disappointed to miss a semi-final against New Zealand in Abu Dhabi. But you're right, there's plenty of options. They've got a lot of highly talented white ball cricketers. It shows how well they've done to get to a semi-final when you think there's no Archer, no Stokes, no Sam Curran, no Tymal Mills, Wood has been injured, and now Roy. So they're hanging a little bit, but they've still got lots of options.
Well, let's maybe go through them. The most obvious and simplest switch, which seems to me at least, would be to move Bairstow to the top of the order and bring in Billings, who is in the squad anyway. But is there a chance that they might just say, well, James Vince is an opening batsman, we'll just let him leapfrog Billings and go and replace Roy as a straight swap?
I think that would be harsh on both Billings and Bairstow to a degree, actually. I mean, Bairstow is a very, very fine opening bat in white ball cricket. He does it at the top of the order with Jason Roy in 50-over cricket. He can be destructive. They would have probably liked him to stay at 4 because they reckon he's a good player of spin at 4, and obviously with Sodhi and Santner in the New Zealand opposition, and if they get through to a final, he's going to come up against spin. But I think Bairstow going to the top, and then Billings, I think, is the next cab off the rank. And also it just limits the sort of disruption, and James Vince has been around, but I would go for the thing that limits the disruption as much as possible.
There could be other alternatives at the top as well. Milan could pop up to 3. Moeen Ali, who's used as a bit of a floater in this tournament. Liam Livingstone has done it for Lancashire and other domestic franchise competitions.
You never know with Morgan what he'll be doing. He'll be sitting down with his analyst and looking at the matchups, and that might determine at the Abu Dhabi ground what exactly they need to do. So he might not just do it from common sense, he might actually analyse who needs to bat where the left-handers need to come in. I probably wouldn't move Livingstone up to open because I think they finally found a finisher in Livingstone. He nearly did it against South Africa with those 3 sixes, one of them a huge 6 against Rabada. So I wouldn't make that massive a change, and I would keep Moeen as a floater. Moeen can come in at 3 if there's let Santner's bowling as a left arm spinner and target a short boundary, and you could go the extra bowling option. I would go Bairstow to open.
Yeah, that was the final option I was going to touch on, whether they wanted actually not in changing the personnel, change the balance of the side and go for another bowler, given in the absence of Tymal Mills that England's bowling at the latter stages of that game against South Africa was a little shabby.
Yeah, and this is the point you were making about the amount of options they've got, and also if you bring in, say, a Willie, then you've got someone who can strike it at the top, then you've got a left armour with no Tymal Mills, so they've got that as well, and I think it does give them an extra bowling option. From what we saw in Abu Dhabi, I still think having the 2 spinners, I think they've got enough in the bowling. They've been bowling brilliantly.
Yeah.
You know, going into that game they lost against South Africa, most of their bowlers, if not all of them, were going at under 6 runs and over, so they've been going really well. So it's not time to panic just because they lost one game to South Africa. You could say they've got their average game out of the way, get back on track.
Final question, New Zealand opponents in the semi-final. Obviously everybody's minds will cast back 2.5 years to the World Cup final at Lord's in 2019. If these two teams give us half as much drama, we'll be lucky.
It'll be brilliant. I mean, it's in 50 overs it takes a lot more time, that World Cup, and then you had a super over on the back of it. This happens a lot more quickly. From what I've seen of New Zealand, they have a fabulous bowling attack, with Santner and Sodhi providing the spin, and then Saudi and Bolt giving them pace. Their batting relies heavily on Guptill and Williamson. Williamson is like that rock that bats through. Guptill tees off, and he's in decent nick, so they'll want to get Martin Guptill out early.
So we're going to look forward to that semi-final, which is on Wednesday at Abu Dhabi against New Zealand. The final match of the Group 12 stages is completing shortly when India play Namibia, and tomorrow we'll build up to that England semi-final. Looking forward to it.